Good morning. I'm the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III, and I'm here with our morning meditation. As often as we share in these messages, I hope that we have discovered the necessity to have some self-talk. And what I mean by self-talk, it means that we ought to have some mantras, some morning meditation thoughts, some words that we share with ourselves to encourage ourselves along the way. And in today's message, I want to remind us that in the midst of our lives, it's important to have those mantras that encourage us to take another step, to strive to go a little bit further, and to be encouraged as we do so to know that we're not alone. We hope that these messages, and this message in particular, will inspire you to have a morning mantra, a daily mantra that you speak to yourself and encourage yourself during the course of the week to remind you that you're not in this alone and that you'll make it through the week, not just surviving it, but thriving as you enter into your weekend. Well, today's morning meditation reminds me of something that's really important, that life can be and is often unfair. And the circumstances of our lives often leave us with the desire and the necessity to alter the path in which we have chosen in order to survive it. And so I want to talk with us for a few moments on what we've entitled for this morning meditation, I Will Not Give Up. I will not give up. There is a story shared by the late great Howard Thurman, theologian, mystic, all the great things he meant for so many who read his writings and are blessed by his messages. But Howard Thurman shares these words, this story about this tree and a tree line. The further he was able to travel into the mountains, the more scarce the trees became at the higher altitudes. And he finally reached a place where the trees no longer seemed to grow up, but he discovered a tree that seemed to grow at least close to the ground, close to the mountain. In order to survive the mountain and the winds and the snow and the weather, the tree, in other words, altered its path. Instead of simply growing up, it grew along the side of the mountain. And Howard Thurman ventures to kind of share that if the tree were to be personified, it would probably answer these questions in an interview. Why did you grow this way? Why did your branches grow along the side of the mountain? What was it in your mind that made you do and alter your path? And here's what he came up with. He said something like this, and I think it speaks to many of us in our lives as well, that the tree would perhaps respond by saying, I knew that if I would grow taller, my ability to survive would not be held into account. And so I learned how to alter my path. Let come snow, let come rain, let the winds blow, let the sun burn. Whatever it may have been, I have learned to adapt in order to survive. In other words, what Howard Thurman says, and what I think the message is to us, is that there must be some determination in our lives that no matter what is happening, no matter what has happened, no matter what will happen, we have to determine that we will not give up. Yeah, I know that this message for some of us may be timely, may be a little too late or a little too early. Whatever the space you're in, I hope that it reaches you as it has reached me. That there has to be somewhere in the core of our spirit, the core of our being, a determination that we will not give up. Yes, it's important to note that we're not responsible, as always, to be able to determine whether we will survive forever. None of us will. But there has to be something inside of us that determines that whatever the lay of the land is, whatever the circumstances, whatever the challenges may be, whatever the community crisis may bring our way, whatever is happening in our collective experience, we have determined that we will not give up. I won't give up. I won't give up. I won't give up. That has to be our mantra for this week. That has to be our mantra for our journey, that whatever obstacles may befall us, we will not give up. And let me tell you why it's important to come to that conclusion. Because circumstances, first of all, circumstances are not always going to be beneficial in our lives to produce the kind of environment that will make us want to thrive and be alive. That there are certain moments that we have learned, we all have learned, that the sun does not always shine for us, that the road is not always easy for us, that we will not always have a cheering section in our lives. We will not always have people rooting for us in our lives, but it must be that in our journey that we cannot count on those who are cheering for us, not count on the fact that life will always work out according to our plan, and not count on the fact that we will always feel like going on to determine whether or not we should not give up. Our ability to not give up should be reflected in those who came before us. We should be able to reflect back and think about those who found a way to not give up in order for us to make it to where we are. And this, my friends, I think is one of the challenges of our day and time. With everyone living for right now and what is in it for them and how much comfort they can give, they never think that they're not giving up, maybe for posterity's sake. They're not giving up may not be a benefit to them now, but it may be for their children and their children's children later. The founders of this country did not have the comforts and creature comforts that we have. Our ancestors, one that I am proud of African ancestry, I would never be here if it were not for the fortitude and determination of those who are Africans brought into chattel slavery here in America that determined they would not give up in order for me to be able to enjoy the life that I live and to sacrifice for those who shall come behind me. In other words, what I'm trying to get across is that not giving up is not just about us, but it's about those who came before us and those who will come behind us. To not give up means to take one more step, maybe not win the race, but to keep pressing to see what the end will bring. So I think it's important for you and for me as we go through the course of this week that whatever your challenge may be, whatever difficulty it might bring, whatever's happening in your family, whatever's happening with you physically, what's going on with you mentally, what's happening with your finances and your career path, what's happening in your environment where you look around and it seems like the community is going to Hades in a handbasket, or it seems like what's going on in the country, it just feels like it's overwhelming, or you might discover that you're in conversations with people who don't really want to listen to a real good dialogue, a helpful dialogue that is constructive for their lives and for yours. It may feel like you are in a place where you're throwing up your hands and wanting to say, the heck with it. But here's what I want to leave with you is that it is in those moments that the divine shows up just when you are about to give up. Like the old song says something like this, the old psalm in the scriptures say, weeping may endure for night, but joy comes in the morning. But it's the night season that is the hardest. And just when you are at the place where it doesn't feel like you will see a turn, someone also shared, the darkest night is just before the dawn. In other words, don't give up. I know that's easy for me to say. I don't know what you're going through or what's happening. I don't know all the things that you're challenged with, and I don't really understand all that you're dealing with. But I can say from my own experiences, I have had some moments in my life in which I wanted to give up. But because I didn't give up, it brought me to a brighter day. Yes, it reminded me that yes, I may have to go through the floodwaters of life, but I may not drown if I don't give up. And I may have to go through the fires of life, but I may not burn up, but I may come forth, as my mothers and fathers used to say, as pure gold. It is the not giving up part that I'm trying to leave with you. Doesn't mean that the circumstances of life will always work out the way we want. And it doesn't mean that the challenges are not real. And it doesn't mean that the pain does not hurt. And it doesn't mean that the disappointment does not push us back a few steps. But the real quest, the real determination, my friends, is to not give up. And here's what I learned about not giving up, that when I don't give up, when we don't give up, we offer ourselves an opportunity to see the coming of a new day, a new opportunity to see smiles, a new opportunity to experience joy. And I don't know who this message is for, but I hope that you are hearing it and it resonates with you. Just don't give up. Here's what Howard Thurman reminds me of, and this is what I am glad to share. I wonder if I dare to act, and even if I do just what I said, I'll discover that there's something greater on the other side. So the determination of the tree that decided that it will not give up is what we see all around us. It's like that story of the flower in the granite wall. I've shared it with you before. I'll share it once more. There's a story of a flower that had decided to break through a crack in the concrete. And as it did, it saw that the sun was on the other side of a granite wall that had been built. So the flower found a way to navigate the cracks in the wall. And while it did not see the sun on its side of the wall, its roots were on one side of the wall. The flower was able to break through in its determination to not give up through the cracks in the granite wall and to bloom on the other side of the wall. What a wonderful thing that the flower's message may mean for us, that our roots may be on one side and we may be stuck in the soil on one side and the sun may be blocked so that we cannot see it. But if you're determined enough, the sun that you gain when you navigate the cracks in the wall may feed the root system that will keep you alive. I hope you're getting my point. Bloom, shine, don't give up. You may be the flower that some generation yet to come may need to see. So I want to encourage you to do just that. Well, that's our morning meditation. I've gone too long. Don't give up. And I want you to know that we love you. You are loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. And as you do so, don't give up as you're navigating this week. You'll discover the promise of life has more in store for you than you can ever imagine, but you can't give up on it. Thanks. Have a great week. Have a great day. Have a great life. Enjoy it. I think you deserve it. Take care. Bye bye.